Baseball. What is baseball?
Baseball is a natural batting glove game played between, I don't know, what's it played between?
Baseball is played with 9 people from one team and basically 1, 2, 3, or 4 people from another team. The people on the bases and on the home plate are the batters.
You run around bases, yes?
Yeah, basically. But how are you going to just run around bases without a ball?
So you're saying that there has to be some kind of ball?
Yeah, that's what pitchers are for.
What's a pitcher?
A pitcher is the one who throws the ball.
Ah, and then the batter hits the ball after he throws it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then what's the batter do?
Well, he runs. Unless he gets caught out before that.
Runs around the bases.
Right.
Got it. So, how's this relate to physics?
Well, this is baseball and this is physics at the same time. Baseball is physics. Because physics is everywhere, right?
Yes, agreed. So pitchers take account for the trajectory of the ball because they need to throw the ball to the batter. And the only way for this to happen is if they have the right path. What are the types of pitches?
Well, there's several things they can do. We won't get into technical terms here. Well, first thing they can do is throw the ball to the batter very high.
So they aim for the helmet.
Sure.
Alright. And are there any tricks that can make the ball take some strange path?
Well, there's spin.
Yes.
He can curve the ball in or curve the ball out. Or he can just make it very fast.
So what's the normal trajectory of a ball?
Well, that's projectile motion.
Indeed. So the ball acts as a projectile when it is thrown from the pitcher to the batter. Hence, it assumes the path of a
parabola.
Indeed.
Well, why is it a parabola?
Because the only force that is influencing the ball's path is gravity.
So what are some important properties about this parabolic trajectory?
Well, for each point along this parabola, we have a y component of the velocity and an x component of the velocity.
Wait, I've heard of speed, but what's velocity?
Velocity is speed, but with a direction. Speed is the magnitude of velocity.
So it's a vector.
Yes, a vector. And like all vectors, they have x components and y components. Up here, we have that the velocity is not 0, but the y component of the velocity is 0. Otherwise, if the velocity up here was 0, then the ball would simultaneously stop, which would be quite an impressive pitch.
What's important about this parabola is the time it takes for the ball to go up is equal to the time it takes for the ball to go down.
Why is that?
Well, we can do some math, but not now, we're not mathematicians. We notice that the y component of the velocity goes from some non-zero magnitude to 0.
Yes.
And from 0 back to that same magnitude. Yes. Since the acceleration is g, the gravitational acceleration, which is a constant, we see that the time it takes is the same.
Ah, so it's just argued by a symmetrical argument.
Right, and it's symmetric across this axis,
yes,
which I've drawn with this awesome dotted line.
True.
If this height is equal to this height, then the times are the same.
Aha.
Okay, well, another important thing is, if this angle we call
theta,
some angle theta, Greek letter, then if the pitcher wants the ball to travel the furthest, given that this is some imaginary ground.
Then let's just do some math and calculate it.
No. Let's cut it short. Exercise left for the reader. This angle theta should be 45 degrees.
Ah, and that's just because of symmetry as well.
Well, more or less.
Great. Like a good neighbor, physics is there.
So what's the hardest part of baseball?
Well, I think it's pitching. What do you think?
I think it's batting, because the batter has to calculate the trajectory of the ball, and also he only has one perspective to calculate that from, while the pitcher already knows where he's going to put the ball and how he's going to spin it.
Well, pitchers have to do the same thing.
Yes, but they know it ahead of time where they're going to pitch it.
Sure, but they have many things to think about. First, they have to think, how fast should I throw in that pitch? Second, how should I spin it? in or out? Second, how high should I pitch it? Also, they have to read the batter's mind.
But all baseball players are physicists, and all of them have to use physics.
Exactly. There's another thing in physics which is used in baseball. It's called the Magnus force.
It involves spin. So the Magnus force occurs when the ball is spinning. When the ball spins, air will be coming in one direction, and that will be pushing against the ball, causing it to stop. But on the other hand, air will be coming from the bottom, working with the ball. This causes the spin as more air comes this way as it halts this way, which means it will change the path of the ball if you spin it.
Fielding is also very important in the game of baseball.
An electric field or magnetic field?
We're talking about baseball fielding. You know, like the kind with mitts?
Mitt.
Well, mitts are very important in the game of baseball.
I admit it.
Well, you should. Well, mitts help the baseball fielders not get hurt. Well, if you catch it with your bare hand and that ball comes in like that, that's going to hurt. And if that hurts, then that's not good. So what the mitt does is it provides a greater surface area for the ball to land in. If it comes in your hand, the ball is about yay big. And it's going to hurt a lot because the pressure, the pressure is force per unit area. Now, when that ball comes really high, the force is a lot. And when the force is a lot, you need to have a large surface area because that will reduce the pressure. And that's exactly what this mitt does. So for example, if a ball is landing at a really large height and is landing at, say, 120 miles per hour, the pressure is going to be much lower with the mitt than without. So wear your mitts.
Although baseball may seem like America's greatest pastime, it's much more than that. It's actually an exercise in physics.
That's right. Physics is baseball, and baseball is physics. Thank you for watching our video. Signed off from Ahan Rungta, pitcher, fielder, outfielder, and baseball player, all in all.
And Cody Johnson, a nerd, a baseball fanatic, and a physicist.